Look, folks, we're just heading in towards Christmas, and John Boy wants to talk about trucks. Why trucks? Are we supposed to be going on holiday, John? What's happening?
Ho, 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 Max. Is this the last one for the year?
Oh, we could do another one Monday if you really want to push it.
Well, we'll see what Santa says, eh? Hey, I know that you are a man who loves user pays and you hate subsidies and you actually don't like railways. So, as we just spoke about last week.
When did that happen? When did I don't like railways?
So, based on that successful interview we did last week, I thought, let's talk about trucks because you love user pays. And you think the user should pay, right?
Exactly. If you're going to use the road, you should pay.
That's right.
Cyclists should pay.
And you're telling me we shouldn't have a railway system as well because, we can't have a roading and railway system. And how can we afford both?
Well, one or the other, not both. Schools? Yep. John, you're coming around. I'm pleased to hear it.
Yeah. So I thought I'd look at and get some data here for you. This is data to show you a couple of things here. So I thought user pays, right? So let's say who pays for the state highways in New Zealand with road user charges? And did you know that 72% of small vehicles like cars and vans, anything under 3.5 tons is a small vehicle or light vehicle, they pay for 72% of all the road user charges for maintaining the roads in New Zealand. That's who pays. And would you know that heavy trucks that do all the damage and kill 20% of the people on the roads or are involved in 20% of the fatal deaths, they pay just 23% of the costs for the highways. And yet they do the majority of the damage.
I had no idea about that. I can't argue with that. That's
Ministry of
fair.
Transport data here, Max. Look at that. Ministry of Transport data.
Is it because of the number of trucks and the number of compared to the number of cars?
Well, there's only most of the traffic it's about 10% of the traffic is actually trucks on the roads, but they pay 23% of the costs, yet they do nearly the majority of the damage or over the majority of the damage on the roads.
Oh, look, I would concur that's probably true. They do most of the damage because even our tar seal, John, what I'm understanding, and maybe you should do some research on this, is not up to a high grade of standard. Well, I believe Australian roads use a much higher grade of tar seal and will last longer. Well, I'm not 100% certain on that. So if our listeners are out there, would they please comment?
2009 and 10, the National Party allowed the big, heavy 50-ton or more trucks on our roads, the ones that have an H sign. They have an H sign on the trucks. Those trucks do far more damage to the roads than normal trucks. And what we've seen since 2010, the roads are degrading quicker and quicker as more and more of these larger trucks are coming on the roads. And they're taking away business from Kiwi Rail. So Kiwi Rail are losing contracts of like fertilizer to Northland, for example, normally would have gone by trains. Well, suddenly they're going these 50-ton trucks because it's cheaper. But it's only cheaper because they're not paying their full way for all the costs of the state highway and the damage they're doing. So
well, I've got to say, John, it comes back to it again. One or the other, not both. Either rail or trucks, one or the other, but not both.
Well, clearly one is really not paying its own way, and it's the trucking industry, which is... Now, look, I want to be fair to this. It's nothing to do with truck drivers. That's not their fault. They do a great job driving their trucks.
Oh, you haven't sold that very well.
No, it's the big moguls, the big trucking organizations. These guys are creaming the profit, and they contract to small guys.
That's not true, John. It's a struggling industry. That is not true. It's a really struggling industry. Now, what really is the problem here is the grading of the roads. It is
profits,
poor roads. If we're going to accommodate trucks, John, let me speak for a minute. If we're going to accommodate trucks, bring the grading of the road up so they can accommodate them. But don't expect big trucks to drive on small roads. They will rip it up, as you're making a very good point.
So if the big trucks are going to pay more than just 23% of the cost for the roads that they require for their big, heavy trucks, I'll be pleased with that. So I agree. I was reading another guy from Dog and Lemon Guide saying he suggests they start to incrementally increase road user charges for the big, heavy trucks every year until they get to an acceptable level. Right now, this is a very low amount, and it means everyone else here, every other car user and small diesel user, is subsidizing the big, heavy truck industry.
John, you're not listening. Now, look, if we could have a debate, you should listen to the other side and actually, start agreeing with Max would be quite a good start.
What did Jacinda say today in Parliament? I'm kind of agreeing with her if it was talking about
What I'm saying here is, John, the grading of the road should be brought up to the standard to accommodate a big truck. If we're going to do that. Now, we're going to spend money, either trucks or rail, but not both.
Max? And look, Max, why
Did
should
I-
the average motorist, the average guy who's got a little ute, be subsidizing a big trucking industry? Why is that? Why not put it on rail? We don't
Because
have to do the massive upgrades to the roading network.
because there's bloody hundreds of thousands to one truck.
Yes, but still, why should anyone subsidize the trucking industry? Why should
trucks
someone who has a
subsidize
moped
the car
paying their
industry?
licensing
But you know,
fees?
John, we got to agree on something. Surely it's the quality of the
Can
roads.
you see that?
No.
5% licensing fees. That's how much licensing fees pay for the roading network, 5%. But 23% is from trucking, and yet that does all the damage to our roading network.
I'm going to say
Pay
something to
more,
our
I say.
listeners out there and our viewers. If you disagree with John, you say so. If you disagree with me, well, you can still say so. But we would
Viewers
like to
disagree
hear
with
from you.
Max. Ho, ho, ho. Maybe not the last one
Well, the
till
facts
Christmas.
talk to Max. See you later, John.